Rear fender, to eliminate or not eliminate? That is the question. Alright, so if you have watched previous videos of mine, you'll know that I've kind of gone back and forth on the whole eliminate the rear fender question. My initial thought was definitely I'm getting rid of this thing, it's ugly. And then, you know, I was driving around on a wet day and I thought maybe I'll keep it because it actually serves a purpose. Since then, I've flip-flopped many times. I've had a fender eliminator of one sort or another in a shopping cart of one sort or another. I don't know, 7 or 8 times over the past year. So it's been undecided. But I was recently contacted by Kemimoto and they offered to send me one to demo. And I thought, hey, if they're going to send me one to try, I'm going to try it. So I'm going to go through the process of installing this thing. Again, the company is Kemimoto, and I have not looked at this thing yet. This one, right off the bat, I'll tell you that I was surprised when I got this package. It came in a box that was a little bit bigger than this box. And I didn't think it was this because it was so light. Right off the bat, I will tell you this is definitely going to save some weight. I'll weigh it before I put it on, and I'll weigh the big fender that I take off just so you can know exactly how much weight it saves. I'm not really an ounce counter or anything like that when it comes to my bike. I've put a lot of pretty heavy mods on, so that's not my first priority. But if it is, this is definitely a way that you're going to save some weight. So just looking at it right off the bat, it's fairly thick metal. This is aluminum alloy, I'm told. And it's all one piece. There are no welds. It's kind of an anodized black color. It's really slick looking. It feels extremely solid. So I think this is probably just as good as anything else on the market, if not better. I was looking at a different one that had, you know, that I'm sure was strong, but, you know, had a lot of welds on it. And this, I really kind of like the idea of it just being all one formed piece. So yeah, we will go through the install with this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well. Hopefully the GoPro picks it up. And of course you're not going to be able to see much of it at all when it's actually mounted because there's going to be a license plate here and this goes under, and that's the idea. You're eliminating a fender, you're not changing it out for a prettier one. So in the box it looks like there's some mounting hardware, some bracket of some sort. I'll go through all this when I'm actually installing it. I'll take you through that. And I assume some instructions. Ooh. Yeah, you got little rubber plugs and some kind of nice spacers, it looks like. All this seems, just first impressions, seems very high quality to me. Installation. All right, so the installation instructions are one page and it's just pictures. I think it's going to be fairly easy to understand. You just put the bolts and washers where it says in the picture. So yeah, let's head to the garage and see how this works. Real quick, before I head down to the garage and install this, I figured I would weigh it since I've got everything right here and see how heavy it is. Alright, so with all the hardware, we are looking at 7.3 ounces, so less than half a pound. That is pretty light. Let me see, I think I can change this to 208 grams, 206 grams. For those of you who aren't on the archaic imperial system like I am in the United States, 206 grams or 7.3 ounces. All right, and when I'm all done, I'll take whatever I take off the bike, put it on here, and we can do the math, see how much it weighs, or how much it saves. All right, we are in the garage. This is where the magic happens, as they say. And let us commence the install. I suspect that this is going to be a very, very easy install. Knock on wood. All right. So the instructions, again, all it really is a single picture, but I personally don't think they're even really necessary. It looks like a total of 3 bolts. The only thing I'm not really sure about, and we'll get there when we get there, is this light that lights up the license plate. We'll see if there's a way to integrate that back in. I don't know if there will be, but we'll see. So on the bottom of this, I got a couple cameras set up, so hopefully some of these angles will work. Usually when I'm doing work on my bike, it's hard to see because I'm not a super great cameraman. But we've got 3 hex bolts. They're 5mm hex bolts holding on the fender. So obviously those need to come off. Uno. Dos. Trace was pretty cranked on there, Honda. Or maybe dealership, I don't know who does that part. All right, and then this comes off. All right, I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this camera, but there's kind of a plate on the bottom of the fender that I suspect I need to get into to deal with the cables, and I can't see what's holding that on. Oh, there's two more hex bolts right under, if you can see, right here. There's 2 more that are being sneaky and hiding. These are a little bit shorter, but still 5mm hex heads. All right, and sure enough, that opens up everything. So the question is, what can I do with this light? I'm guessing that I'm not going to be able to put it on this Fender Eliminator. Well, actually, no. There's 2. I see what they did there. Okay, it doesn't mention it in the instructions here that I can see, but it appears that there are 2 screws here that hold it onto this inner casing of the fender that I'm guessing match up with these holes here, these holes here. I don't know which camera to show. So I think I'll be able to still use this license plate light, which is good. So the first thing I'm going to do, it looks like these are just 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, or screws, bolts that are holding the license plate light onto the bracket. All right, so everything's just kind of falling apart here. Try and prop the fender up onto the tire. And again, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this is the license plate illumination light. And there's 2 Phillips head screwdrivers and just a little nut holding it on. Take that out and put the little bolt and washer and nut back together in case I need them later. All right. So that frees up this is the inner side of the fender. And now I have just the back side of the fender. And let's see, is there a connector that I can just unplug? There is not, but I'm thinking what I will do is cut the wire. So even if I can use this light, I'll want this cable to be shorter anyway, because it's going to be right here as opposed to out here. So I think I'm just going to snip this here and then splice it back together. Probably solder it and put some shrink wrap on it. And I'm hoping that I can reuse it on this. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to fit in there or not, but we'll find out. I'm just going to chop it right there. All right, old Fender is completely off. Now, what we got here. All right, so this just looks like a kind of a thickish piece of aluminum alloy. There's 3 bolts that came out that held the fender on. This is going to screw into 2 of them, and it looks to me like it's just to kind of cover the holes there, keep everything nice and tidy. So I'm gonna put that in, and of course there is a hole there for the the wire for the tail light to go through. Fingers crossed we're going to make that work. And looking at the picture, it looks like the thin side, there's a thin side and a thick side relative to the big center hole. The thin side goes towards the rear, judging by their diagram here. So that goes like that, and it looks like it just takes, I'm going to dump these out here. And there are 3 bolts. There are 2 that are a little bit longer, one that's a little bit shorter. This one takes 2, so I'm going to assume that the longer ones are used here. It shows these 2 little washers going in. There's 2 spacers that I don't, maybe it'll be obvious, but I don't think I see where those go yet. And these look like smaller hexes. I'm guessing 3 or 4. Let's try 4. Yeah. So the bolts that come with the new kit are 4 mil. And of course it doesn't come with any torque specs, so I'd just say kind of give it a good snug twist, but don't kill yourself doing it. All right, and then it looks like this goes right there. Okay, so yeah, we'll definitely be able to just hook up the light right here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So again, the instructions don't mention the light, but we'll definitely be able to, there's a hole there for the cable, so they obviously designed it for this. All right, so this is going to attach here. The wires for the license plate light are going to go through here, but what I'm seeing is it's a little bit, it's not lining up perfectly with the screw holes, because the problem is, if you look at this, they, I don't know which is better, they put the holes that the wires go through dead center between these 2 holes that they have for the bolts. And if you look, the wires are a little bit off center. So what I think I'm going to need to do is drill this hole out just a hair so that it gives me room to get the wires through and move it over. Actually, okay, so I think this is my bad on the drilling the hole. I think I finally understand what their thinking was. So again, I'll make a note to them on updating their instructions, but it looks to me like what was supposed to happen, or what is supposed to happen, is that this is what these spacers are for. So they include these two little spacers, and I think that these go through here and hold your license plate light out just enough so that you can route the wires through the hole. And then you will not have to do any drilling at all. Yeah, so that I'm sure that's what their intent was. So with these, hopefully you can see that with the spacers in between your light and the bracket, it gives you a little space to maneuver the wire through the hole. So scratch what I said about drilling, about boring out the hole. You don't need to do that. You just need to put these spacers in. All right. All right, and again, to reattach your light, you'll need a Phillips and a wrench to hold the nut. All right, so that's what that looks like, all attached with the spacers. All right, so next I'm going to actually attach the bracket to the bike. And again, this is the 4mm hex, and they've got a washer with it. And that fits nicely there. It does pivot a little bit, so you know, just kind of line it up so it's straight. Tighten it down, nice and snug. All right, so now I just need to splice these wires together, solder them, shrink wrap them, so this is all protected where the license plate light is connected. There's these three little plugs, and again, I don't see this in their diagram, but there's three holes here, so I'm assuming, yeah, these just plug right in to kind of give a little bit of cushion between the bracket and your license plate. That's kind of a nice little feature. And they're very snug, which is good. They're not going to be coming out anytime soon. You can kind of grab them on the other side and make sure they're pulled all the way through. And then of course your license plate's going to be screwed in here, so they're not going to go anywhere. And that is it other than this wire. So let me solder this. All right, hopefully you'll be able to see this. So the first wire I soldered, the green one I soldered first, and then pulled the sleeve over. And then I've got the brown wire, and I'm pulling the sleeve over that. Then of course I'll just heat shrink both of those. And if you're wondering what shrink wrap I use, I'm just using this Gardner Bender heat shrink assorted mix. There's 160 tubes of various sizes. I use it all the time, really like it. Get some better angles with my phone here. So this is what it looks like installed. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe these two holes here on either side are so that you can reuse the reflectors, which I'm going to do because the more visibility you can get, the better, in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, I was able to reuse these reflectors. A little bit dinged up from crashes, but that's all right. They'll still reflect. It's pretty nifty. Now, drum roll please. We'll connect the license plate. And yes, my license plate is a little bit bent up too, but that happens. And if you're looking at my license plate right now, I don't know if you can see the stickers on it, but yes, it expired in September. But never fear, I have updated stickers on the way. All right, let's take a look at this bad boy. All right, again, some phone footage so you can see. So there you have it. The only slightly technical part is wiring up your light for the license plate if you want to keep that. In fact, let's see if that works. Ta-da! Light. Well, I am a fan of the look of it. A lot less clunky looking. We'll take all this stuff that I took off upstairs and weigh it. See what the weight savings was, but again, I wasn't as concerned about the weight as just kind of like the clean look of not having this big chunky thing off the back of it. Anyway, let me know what you think. I will head upstairs and weigh it. All right, one last thing that I did just as I was tidying up the garage here. I noticed this wire that's going back to the light was kind of hanging down just a little bit more than made me comfortable. So I ran a zip tie. This is part of the bracket here, just the top part of it. And there's a slight gap between the rest of the bike and this, just enough to slip a zip tie all the way around and hold this cable that's going to the license plate light up out of the way. It was dropping down about like that, and this just kind of pulls it up and out of the way, and it's nice and secure now. A lot less likely to get snagged on something, so I thought that might be interesting to somebody. All right, I am done. That was fairly painless. The only really tricky part about the whole thing was that license plate light, and you're gonna have that with any Fender Eliminator that you use if you want to continue to use your license plate light, and I recommend that you do. And let's see how much weight we saved. This is everything that I pulled off the bike, the two pieces of the fender itself, and then the hardware. So I believe we were at 7.3 ounces on the Kemimoto Fender Eliminator, and this is with all the bits. 1 pound 6.6 ounces, so just a hair under a pound that we are saving. Let me push the button to let us know what it is in grams. 640 grams is what we took off. Can't really remember what we put on with the Kemimoto Fender Eliminator, but I'll do the math and put it on the screen. So fairly significant if you are an ounce/gram counter. This is going to save you about a pound, which is not nothing. So, final thoughts. I really, really like the look of the Fender Eliminator. I just have never liked this big clunky thing hanging off the back of it. Just seems like this wonky, ill-proportioned tail. that said, it does serve a purpose. I mean, it does catch mud and stuff that's flipping up, so I may get a little bit of mud on my back that I wouldn't have before. But I'm willing to take that chance because I really like the way it looks. And this Kemimoto one, I think it's well made, it's slick. I love the black anodized aluminum look. All one piece, no welds. I think the instructions could be a little bit more clear, but that won't matter to you. If you're watching this video, you just saw me do it. So all my little things that I wasn't sure about, and all those just related to that tail light, really. But just know that regardless of what option you choose, if you are eliminating your fender, you're going to have to deal with that license plate light. So be prepared with a soldering iron, solder, shrink wrap tubes if you like those types of things, or whatever you use. Kemimoto did give me a discount code that you can use if you decide to buy this model of Fender Eliminator. I've got the Amazon link that you can click on to get to the product itself on Amazon, and then below that I'll have the discount code in the description as well that you can use to get an additional discount. I think this is very fairly priced already, so with the additional discount, you know, it's a great deal. As always, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you feel like it, and ride safe.